Tol, pero manong ano, nung na-stun, ano, di pala maano to.
Papaangat kasi ito sir.
Oo nga, no.
Okay, so am I audible?
Daknap, ano pala to.
Okay.
Nakakailan na yun sir
Wala, masisira na yung cellphone ko.
Is also part of the EIA project or any type of the project, especially in the mining areas or other management areas. Okay, so let's talk about here are my topics outline about my topic. First is soil sampling methods and design. So this is very important during the field data gathering. And then next is soil sample collection. This is also important because there are laboratory na hindi sila mag-accept if there is should. And then the third one is sample laboratory analysis. And then we have a SOTIL laboratory for soil sampling. And then the last one is the interpretation results together with the threshold value given by the laboratory. So what is about the soil analysis? The soil analysis provide important information about physical conditions, fertility. So soil fertility is very important and it is usual or basic soil parameters in all studies or in all assessment. Then status, so especially if the area is agricultural area or if the project is related to the watershed area, and then if the project is in the mining area, so that is very important to know the soil status. So next is the chemical properties. So we have the chemical properties like for example, mga sulfur, lead, mercury. So those are mga soil chemical properties or additional mga soil basic parameters. These are mga soil pH, electrical conductivity, soil fertility, soil texture, and so on. So later on, so I show you the basic soil parameters in addition also with the other chemical soil properties. And then these are the characteristics that would affect soil suitability for growing plants.
Excuse me for a while. So you're into naputol-putol po siya.
So, okay na.
Sige. May comment kasi.
Okay? So, is it okay na po? Okay. Okay, so I repeat. So this soil analysis is very important for any assessment or any study or baseline information in the area. This would cater regarding with the physical conditions of the soil and then the soil fertility or the nutrient itself. And then of course the chemical properties. So we have the additional soil chemical properties aside for the basic soil parameters that would affect the soil suitability for growing plants. So not only for the growing plants, but also for the dependent for the project objectives or the research objectives that you need to conduct. Another is, sorry, medyo unstable yung net connection as well as my laptop. So this is a new normal for this pandemic. So for the overview regarding for the soil components, so we have this one, and then this components is very important in measuring bulk density or soil permeability, and that would lead also to compactability. So with the presence of the water, the air, as well as the soil bulk density.
Okay, so for a while lang po, we'll try to fix the internet connection with our speaker. But before, wait lang po tayo for a while for the technical, sorry po for the technical problem. While still waiting for our speaker to fix the presentation po. Again po, just to remind everyone po, later for our graduation. It's because today is your last day of your training. So, ano po, be present po for later for the afternoon session, and also for the last topic also pa sa ating sa ating last day of our training is the legal procedure and the fines penalty. This is very much important sa lahat po ng mga PCO para po malaman po natin kung ano pa talaga, kung ano magkano po yung mga fines natin if hindi po tayo nag-comply in specific mga permits po sa Environmental Management Bureau. And also the walkthrough online. This is given by bibigay po ito again ni Sir Ryan Pinigalano from the Sumintur po siya. So, again, thank you very much once again, everyone, for joining sa ating training. I think malapit na po ma-fix yung for our next speaker. But, ngayon po, if hindi pa po tayo attendance during our first day and last day of our training, please po, pa-fill out po the attendance sheet. Nagsasend po yung admin natin, yung GC admin po ng Google form, Google form for your attendance sheet from day 1 to day 5. And also, sa mga hindi pa po naka-register po sa ating basic information with regards to training, please po, kapag-register na po para for your certificate po later. So I think already fixed na po the presentation. So now bigay ulit yung floor po to our speaker. Thank you.
Ang tawag doon na sa'yo na. Ay, naku. Pagka ako na lang magre-receive. May trabaho na si Beluman. Wala, ay.
Okay, my apologies for the technical error as well as the internet connection to my personal laptop. And then, of course, it's a new normal when this pandemic happened. Okay, for the retro, for the introduction regarding my topic is all about soil analysis. So, for the definition of soil analysis, what is soil analysis all about? It is to provide information regarding for the physical conditions of the soil. So, this is very important to know the physical condition of the soil, especially when there is suitability or compatibility when it comes to planting of the species, and then of course the fertility or the nutrient of the soil, and then the chemical properties. So there are chemical properties that is add on regarding for the soil analysis, and then this would depend to the assessment or the baseline information or your main objectives to your assessment. And then this is all about to affect the soil suitability for the growing plant. So that is all about soil analysis. But before, during the reconnaissance survey, during the project, construction or operation, so alam niya ng mga engineer na they conduct soil analysis and sampling to know the suitability of the soil or when it comes to the gravity or the density of the soil. Okay, so these are the three phase of system in the soil. So These three phases in the soil component is very important in measuring bulk density or soil compactness. Kasi if this water, air, as well as the mineral components is lack in the soil, it means that the soil is compaction. So it is not good for agricultural, activity when the soil is compaction. So therefore, the project is advised or recommended to conduct various practices or various drilling. Okay? So next is, what are the uses of the soil? So we know already that soil is very important when it comes to productivity or when it comes to our resources. Soil is one of the factors in the production in every community or in every industry. Okay, so the uses of soil, especially in the agriculture or the cropland areas. And then the next one is forest. Forest soil is one of the fertile soil, as compared to the others. And then of course, rangeland. So while there should be a mismanagement practices in the rangeland area or mismanagement practices in the grazing land area, that would lead for the gully erosion or magkaroon siya ng ephemeral gully erosion. Kasi the gully erosion as well as the ephemeral gully erosion, that's our erosion that is rooted in the graceland area. While in the agricultural area, that's our mga real erosion at saka mga sheet erosion. Yung mga usually na mga type of erosion na mapupuro sa kanila when there is a mismanagement plan. And then meron naman tayong agriculture loss of the plant. Soil in order to determine the nutrients. So nutrients can be deficient, sufficient, high, and toxic. So when can we say that the nutrient is deficient, sufficient, high, and toxic? So through sampling analysis at saka laboratory activities. Okay? So another part is growers can determine nutrient shortages by means of visualization. So meron tayong sinasabi na rule of thumb system, especially in the remote area. So there are farmers that they could really detect that the soil or their land productivity is unproductive, or they could really detect if the soil is already infertile because of its experience, ever since. Okay, so those are called as a visual inspection. But however, much better to recommend to conduct a soil and then soil laboratory analysis, and then you could pass your soil sampling in the regulated laboratory. Kasi meron tayong mga regulated laboratories, especially na yung mga recommended laboratories from the DNR para magiging legit yung soil analysis natin. Okay, next yung soil test. So we have mga moisture meters, meron tayong mga soil pH meters to detect na the acidity of the soil. Okay? And then meron tayong tissue test. So yung tissue test, magkuha ka lang ng parts ng plant na yun yung i-test nimo. So especially na yung study nimo is all about heavy metals accumulation. Kasi, so you're going to conduct what are those accumulated chemicals found in the plant. So there are instances na this plant is high accumulation in the mercury, there are instances na yung plant is high accumulation in the lead or arsenic. So those are coming from the tissue test. Okay? So next is soil sampling methods. So first in soil sampling methods is you have to select the sample data. Okay? So technically, at saka in terms of the method, ito yung hinahanap during the assessment or during the field study, how to conduct the soil sampling area. First is you have to select the sampled area. Okay? And then the second one is uniform texture. So like for example, we have 3 textural classes in the soil. We have sand, silt, at clay. Okay? So those are mga textural classes. So that would depend also during the soil sampling analysis. Okay? And then another part based on our experience is, like for example, in the forest areas or the timberland areas. So we have to conduct based on the type of the ecosystem. So like for example, there are patches of land within the area is in the forest area. There are patches of a land that is found in the agroforestry area. So magkuha ka ng soil sampling doon. Magkuha ka ng soil sampling sa forest area. Magkuha ka ng sampling for the agriculture area. So if that is your project area, para ma-correlate nimo yung analysis when it comes to their fertility or further nutrients. Okay? So those are part in the uniformity when it comes to texture. Okay? Next yung topography. So what if your area or project area is steep or slopey yung area? So therefore, you have to justify or you have to delineate or identify kung saan yung low elevation, yung mid elevation, at saka high elevation. It doesn't mean na steep na yan siya, mid na yan siya, doon ka lang sa low elevation na kuha. So that's not good kasi bias yan siya sa research. So therefore, lahat ng different types of elevation kunan mo siya kasi iba-iba yung texture at saka characteristic niya. Okay? So next yung cropping history. Okay, so we have also a cropping history. So based on the USDA kasi, so if the agricultural land area, yung magkuha ng soil that is 3 to 6 months, every 3 to 6 months, mag-soil sampling analysis ka. But in the field of the forestry, so before the planting activity, so you have to conduct soil sampling analysis para hindi siya mag-lead to failure yung mga species planted nimo. Kasi there are a soil na hindi siya suitable species na i-plant mo. Okay? So those are part of the historical events when it comes to soil sampling. Okay. So next is yung soil sampling methods also. So I illustrate or show this diagram, the horizons of the soil. Okay, so when we talk about horizon, this is horizontally, aligned. When it comes to the vertical section naman ng horizon, that is called a soil profile. So this one. Okay, so this one, that is a horizon. So in the horizon A, that is referring for the topsoil. So yung topsoil, that is one of the fertile one according based among to the different horizon. So, kaya nga, when it comes to management practices, so you have to plant a species that is needed for the minimal effect for the soil erosion. Kaya nga, para hindi siya mag-leach out, hindi siya ma-erode during the rainy season. Para i-protect mo yung topsoil or subsoil na hindi siya mag-run out. Okay? And then, related to the type of the crop, the deep of the roots, and the tillage. So, iba-iba kasi yung soil sampling when it comes to deepness. So when it comes to agricultural crops, pag magpa ka ng soil sampling, so meron yan siya sa 6 to 8 inches lang yung deepness. So when it comes to forestry, yung mga kahoy, yung plant mo, nakandakan mo siya ng soil sampling analysis, that is 1 meter. Kasi mas deep-rooted yung forestry as compared to the agricultural crops. So kaya nga iba-iba sila ng deepness when it comes to soil sampling analysis. Okay? So next yung annual crops with tillage, and then lastly, that is the landscape. So we have different landscape also. Kaya different din yung sampling design and methods na yung natin. Okay? So next is yung sampling methods or the uniform sites. So we have the different pattern na conduct natin. And then most important po na dalahin yung na device when it comes to soil sampling patterns, that is the GPS. Kasi that is based on your direction. So dapat pag due north ka, so due north na yan siya, due south. Kasi bawal siya mag-overlapping. Kasi pag mag-overlapping naman yung mga pattern mo yan in just one area, so that would lead also a bias. Okay? So next is yung non-uniform site. So this is a grid system. So we have uniform grid system. So more information. So this one, yung uniform grid system. And then meron naman tayong offset grid that is for economical purposes. And then yung stratified random that is avoid systematic bias. So that is, ito yung usual na ginagamit yung stratified random or purposive sampling. Okay? And the next naman, that is a rectangular grid that is capture directional values. Okay? So average field condition, the high and the low, and the specific location of site, extreme. So that is also different. So usually, this grid kasi applied lang ito siya sa mga undulated terrain, hindi siya too much steep. Kasi yung sa mga steep kasi, we only applied yung mga low, mid, at saka elevation. So every elevation, magkada ka ng sampling analysis or sample collection. Okay? So next, there are several ways of taking sample. So this one, yung letter A figure, that is a network. And then the second one is the 2Z pattern, okay? And then the C, that is diagonally pattern. So like for example, it look like a clustering the plots kasi. So yung pinakauna na i-establish mo when it comes to diagonally is the center line, okay? And then next is this one, yung the permanent crop that is usually in the agricultural crop. So ganito yung mag-conduct sa, okay? So another sampling procedure, so this one, so ito yung mga sampling procedures. So as you can see here, ito yung W pattern at saka mga Z pattern. So ganito nag-conduct ng mga soil sampling. Okay? So 5 meters yan siya. So from this point, so mag-measure ka ng 5 meters. The next is 5 meters, 5 meters, 5 meters. Okay? So that is part of the sampling procedure. So marami siyang sample. Hindi siya isa lang ka-sample collection within the area. Makanda ka ng soil sampling analysis. Hindi yan siya pwede. Okay? And then, take note, there are 50 to 20 samples per unit. So like for example, this one, so itong circle na yan, so in that circle, in that area, so mag-establish ka naman ng 5 by 5 na rectangular plot. And then within the rectangular plot, magkuha ka ng sample. Okay? So that is part of the sampling procedure. And then after that, collection, so you have to mix or composite. So lahat ng mga sample na kinuha mo in the first plot. Okay? So composite mo yan siya. Okay? So this one, so during the soil sampling, you have to remove first the litter or the grass or yung mga stone. Ang hirap po mag-conduct ng sampling analysis pag stony yung area or rocky yung area. Kasi hindi siya pwede na maghatid ka ng soil sample doon sa laboratory ng soil na meron siyang mga stone. Pa-remove talaga yan siya. Okay? So next yung core and remove sample from the tube. So if meron kayong soil auger, so these are the example of the soil auger. Ito yung pinaka-fast na mag-conduct ng soil sample na merong soil auger. So yung iba naman, they use shovel also. Okay? So next yung mix and remove 1 cup of soil for testing, then allow to air or to dry, and then you have to label. Label is very important. Kasi kung hindi ka siya mag-label based on the field activity, so pagdating nyo yan siya sa laboratory, so mahihirapan na kayo to identify na saan na yung sample 1, saan na yung sample 2, saan na yung sample 3. Kasi that is very important talaga when we have sampling or collection in the area. We have to gather first the data, as well as the photo documentation. Okay? So another field sampling is this one, yung sinabi ko kanihan, lahat ng sub-sample in an area is you have to compose it. So like for example, in the sample 1, so in sample 1 is magkuha ka ng 4 samples or 5 samples kasi depende kasi yan siya. So yung 5 sample in the sample 1, so you have to conduct composite. Ibig sabihin, you have to mix it. Okay? Then usually samples are collected to the depth of about 6 to 8 inches. So ito yung 6 to 8 inches, ito yung sa mga agricultural land. Pag timberland talaga, tsaka forest land, that is 1 meters. So yan yung mga recommended from the USDA. Okay? And then 100 gram sample. So like for example, in one sample 1, so di ba mag-composite kayo ng sample 1, so you have to weigh yung sample mo that is for 100 gram sample. Okay? So it might be imusang dagdagan, like for example, 100 gram sample. And then pagdating ng air drying in the area, nagiging 50 grams na lang siya. So much better, dagdagan mo na lang siya from the field. So instead na 100 gram sample yung pag-field mo, so you have to do that in 150 gram. Para pagdating mo sa air drying, hindi na siya kulang. Kasi hindi kasi siya pwede na pagdating ng air drying, nagiging 90 grams na lang siya, tapos dagdagan mo kung ano yung available soil na hindi siya galing sa field area na specific within a sample plot area. So kaya the more the better. So when it comes to sampling. Okay? Then yung sinabi ko kanina, yung sample labeling, that is very important kasi yan yung important in the research study or in the field study, yung labeling. So usually na makaligtaan during the field. Especially na pag all of you are tiring in the field, especially now once the area is very steep or very slope or far from the location. So yun yung mga part na mga dilemma. Okay? Then horizon boundary, so that is must be carefully respected to avoid contamination from other horizons. So yan yung mga part ng mga boundaries kasi even if the soil mag-contaminate yan siya. Okay? Kaya nga yung soil pH meter, yung mga moisture meter pag mag-test sa soil is para dapat hindi contaminated yung equipment. Okay? Kasi yung iba nga is distilled water yung i-wash nila for the equipment. Kasi distilled water that is recommended by the laboratory na yun yung i-wash nimo sa imuhang equipment. So when it comes to the equipment, like for example yung sa mga moisture meters or mga pH meters. Okay? And then actual number of subsamples depends on the field size and uniformity. So as what I said kanina, so yung subsamples or the number of the plants, it would depend on the size of the area. Okay? And then no less than 5 samples should be taken and 15 to 25 are collected. Okay? So like for example, so along the way, so in the area, so kung kayo yung field collector ng soil, then when it comes to visual inspection, so ma-detect nyo yan siya na same lang man sila ng mga textural classes, same lang man sila ng classification when it comes to vegetation or when it comes to the system. So, kaya, yan, mag-move on ka. Kasi, okay lang yan siya. Kasi, isa lang yan sila ng mga analysis when it comes to similarity or uniformity. Okay? As long as you conduct a random sample plans. Okay? So, next is yung how to gather soil sample course. So, ito yung mga soil sample course na i-conduct nyo. So, meron siyang hand shovel at saka meron din siyang shovel. Okay? Kasi yung hand shovel kasi, that's what I usually use during pag hindi siya dry yung soil or medyo clay yung soil. So, pwede lang siya gamitin yung this one, yung hand shovel. Pero kung stick yung soil or very sandy yung soil, tapos mahirap siya i-peel yung soil, so you have to use shovel, yung malaki. Okay, so and then meron naman tayong soil auger, pag meron kayong soil auger, so that's good. Okay, so this one, as you can see, so one direction at a time lang talaga. So like for example, 6 to 8 inches, so isahan lang yan siya when it comes to collection. So hindi na siya pwede na magdagdag ka pa niyan. Pag once na ganito yung direction mo, yan lang yung ipa-follow mo. So do not find another. Kasi that is part also with contamination. Okay? So another part is the timing of the year or timing. So that is very important also when it comes to sample collection. So time of year should be noted when soil samples are collected. So GEO camera is very important during the photo documentation, aside for listing or tabulating the time as well as the date. Okay? And then late summer or early fall is good time for most crops. So before yung rainy season, so that is very best to conduct the soil analysis para hindi siya para hindi mataas yung acidity level. Kasi pag too much rainy season na kasi, taas yung acidity level ng soil. So much better before the rainy season. Okay? So this allows time for lime recommended to react and change the pH before the crop is planted. Then collect soil sample 3 to 6 months before planting. So yan yung pinaka recommended nila when it comes to months before planting when it comes to soil sampling analysis. Okay? So next, this one, yung soil sampling tools. So meron tayong soil push proof and hammer proof. So this one. And then meron tayong bucket auger. Okay? And so next, yung sample preparation from the field. So before yung soil sample na dalahin sa laboratory, so you have to first air dry the soil. Tatanggapin for the laboratory analysis. kasi meron na siyang contamination. Kaya nga, maganda ka ng air drying. So, let the soil in the area then dry naturally through air. Okay? And the next yung storing. So, this one. So, yung pinakano talaga is yung mga ziplock or yung mga transparent cellophane. And then, just make sure na yung transparent cellophane